Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. It's season 2, episode 9. I knew that. I just know that. Just automatic.
I can't believe how they're flying. They're flying crazy.
That would make it like 20 podcasts.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
We're still talking on the other side of the microphones and making mistakes. It's great, isn't it? We can be shitty for like another 50 podcasts the way I figured it out. Well, we're here with the 2015 Joe's Minibike Reunion People's Choice Champion, and that's the award that really counts. When you think about it, it's,
Yep. Especially the 2015 one.
Especially the 2015 because it's him, Greg Jensen, the winner.
That was a good year.
Rolled in with his Ruttman, and I remember when he first walked in, Ed, he was early, if I recall, and he rolled in and said, "God, who's this professional-looking guy? Kevin Costner coming to my damn mini bike show?" He had a hat on. He was kind of low-key. I'm not sure if you had the kids in tow that year.
Yeah, they were there.
And I looked at the bike, and I was in the middle of just kind of setting up. You know that those first 2 hours of the show, you're out of body.
Right.
You know, you don't know what you're doing, what you're saying. You're just hoping that everything comes together. And he popped up, a nice, like, normal person in the midst of a sea of mini bike lunatics with this bike. And I looked at it, like, didn't immediately think Ruttman, despite the fact that I have two. In fact, I've got some takeoff seats I may want to talk to you about.
All right.
Remember the bike that we built,
Yep.
The CRC bike, and then the Fiberlock bike? Both of those, I think, were Ruttmans, and we used the modified seats. So I had the stock ones, but he had that bike, and it was like everything that a mini bike, as Emmanuel shows some of the photos, should be. It just looked cool. It had the right look. It had the simplicity. I loved the way he had the tank, and it was just. And I did not, at that time, seeing it. And again, the folks were just coming in, all four of them. I didn't realize he was going to end up taking home the crown. And I don't know, did you?
No clue. My wife told me I was.
Did she tell you that night before?
Well, she went through and she sorted through them all, and she came back and she said, there isn't one in here that looks as nice. And I thought she was just saying that, right? There was one, the Barris bike there.
Yes.
The green one.
Yes.
That was, I actually bought, what's that guy's name?
Danny
Boys, yeah. I actually bought that motor from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's on that bike. And I thought for sure that one was going to win. There was no way. And I guess, it all pulled together. Stars aligned.
Well, it was.
Here I am today for my
it was nice because we had been dominated initially with bikes like CT70s. In fact, I think the first 2 or 3 events, 4 of them went to CT70s, and I because the core of my interest in mini bikes lies typically in those style bikes, those rigid frame little bikes. We joke about the fact that the CT70 kids were the rich little kids, right? So we didn't have those, and we remember those. So I was always hoping, and when I envisioned the event, despite the fact I'm on a CT70 there, it was really designed to attract those types of bikes. So thank you for not only showing everybody what we really were hoping to attract, but congratulations on the win. Your wife was right. What's her name?
Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Shout out to Debbie.
And your son, who are you?
I have
your
two.
Daughter?
I have a daughter too.
Right.
Yeah, I have Chris.
Chris. Hi, Chris.
He's got an Azusa.
All right.
Nick, that's actually Nick's bike.
Sure.
And then Susie, we just built her a taco.
Hi, Susie. Hi, Nick. One of them, I think, had a trophy that you had won at a school outing, didn't he?
Yes, that was Nick. He took it to school, show and tell.
What school was that?
That was Minigant Elementary down in Long Beach.
All right, Long Beach, shout out.
Yeah, took it to show and tell. That was a fun day.
Yeah, I bet.
And he's proud of it. It gives him esteem, The kids need something like that. Kids do,
We talk about that often, Greg, is the fact that the bikes, especially when you get like rolling kits, like the one that we're giving away here. This is a Go-Kart USA American Flyer 215. But when you take that out of the box and you assemble that with the kids, you've done it with modified bikes. It is cool working with the kids on it, isn't it? And showing them the basics and having them complete a project.
Oh, totally.
What did you find through that experience?
Well, they actually when I got the bike off of Craigslist, I have a picture somewhere of him, my son. He's a lot younger now. My older son and my younger son sitting there disassembling the bike, because I didn't start working on it to restore it for 2 or 3 years. It had a Briggs, 2 horsepower Briggs on it. Someone had welded a scrub brake on it, and that even was simpler, the scrub brake on there, so they could work on it, totally understood it. I still have that picture of it, parts scattered all over the garage and that kind of thing, Yeah, they learn a lot from that, and it's good. The kids need to have something to work on like that, nuts and bolts. That's the way I grew up, with my dad tinkering around in the garage. And
I had a knock on my door about this time last week, almost around this time. Actually, it was a little bit later. And I don't know where you guys live, but although we're in paradise, there's been like a rash of these knock and rob deals where they knock on your door.
Home invasion.
You know, all this stuff. So unlike the past, like my neighbor across the street, they're nuts. They leave the door open literally 24/7. God bless them. Nothing ever happens to me. I lock up everything just because, I'm that way. And there's a knock on my door, and, immediately you like take guard. It's like, who is it? Where are you? And we're looking at all kinds of windows, and it turns out to be my neighbor who lives down the street, Dennis. And he'd seen one of the podcasts, and his kid had too, and he wants to buy a mini bike. Where do I go? And then I like an idiot, I say, well, I don't know, like Craigslist. I said, there's all kinds of kits all around, like Isuzu Engineering, or, I think Little Indian makes a 2-piece. And then I slap myself in the head. It's like, oh, Christ, man. I've got the Go-Kart USA kit. My sponsor. So I bring him out here. I show him the kit. And I show him that the engine had just come in. And Christ, we got engines, that size. So 3 horsepower engines lying around here. So I was able to literally just show him. And I had all the parts and pieces, the carburetors, the wheels. I was able to show him the kit. And he was able to try to figure out if this is something his kids can get their arms around, because he was going to do that. And that's what he's doing. So he's now talking to the guys at Go-Kart USA. And he's going to get the same kit with the 8-inch wheels. And, he's asking what kind of engine. I said, you get a Titan or a Predator. And, well, he's on his way. So, you continue to see that. Yeah. And that was my recent example. We got into this pretty quick. I want to start by thanking some of our sponsors. It's the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion on October the 14th. It's presented by our friends at Pioneer. Thank you, Ted, and all the guys at Pioneer for doing a great job. Ed, reach over there and grab the muscle truck head unit that we were looking at earlier, would you? So for those of you who have been following the event, Joe's Minibike Reunion, as well as Roadkill, Pioneer's been a company that we've been talking about for a while. And as a part of the clan and stable of Roadkill vehicles that we have, not many of them are suitable for like a radio. Especially vehicles like the Vet Cart or Crusher Impala or Stubby Bob. These aren't vehicles that you ride around in. You go down a racetrack and you hope that you live. Well, Muscle Truck's the one that we actually drive around with. And this was probably the nicest part in Muscle Truck when you think about it, right? So we replaced it with a new Pioneer single din head unit. And the folks from Pilot Transport, thanks, Brian, they removed the Pioneer head unit out of the Muscle Truck, and I nabbed it, and I was able to get approval from Pioneer to give it away. So the actual head unit from Muscle Truck, from Roadkill, is going to be available to a participant, which means that you have to enter your bike. We'll do a luck of the draw, and you'll take this home, and maybe we can get either Alana, the editor, or I think Freiberger may be coming, which would be cool.
That'd be cool.
I covered up his poster because I had to put mine up. A little shameless self-promotion. But we'll get those guys to autograph it. If not, I can arrange to have it autographed for you. But this is an example of what we're giving away. Thank you, Ed. I thought that was pretty cool, kind of unique. We'll be giving away a bunch of other things at the event. Ed, next to you, there's parts from, let's see, you can sit down now. Just get out of the way there for a second. We got small engine cams. We've got some stuff from Onyx ADA. Looks like there's lights, adapters. We've got Mohini carbs from Stutz. We've got torque converters from GTC. So this is just the beginning. I've also ordered a bunch of really cool things that each participant will get. Ed, we've got more of this stuff. Your girl's back.
I love that stuff.
Knock her loose, baby. You need some for the new truck.
Yeah.
This stuff too, huh? You ever tried this?
Yeah, I did. I used it on a gas tank.
This is the gasket remover. In fact,
some paint on it.
It works like all their stuff.
Yeah.
And it also tell you what cracks or holes you got in your fingers because it burns like hell too. So we've got a bunch of stuff to give away. Register on www.joesminibikereunion.com. It's $20 up to about, I think pretty close to about maybe a week before the event. We cut it off, and then you register on site. It's an extra $5. No one cares about the $5. Just come. If you want to save $5, you go to Campbell Automotive. Our friends at Campbell Automotive, they're on Honolulu. Here in Montrose, California, you get $5 off there, and also at Steady Garage. We've got the dyno there. I just talked to the food truck guy with the ribs. He'll be there around 11. which is good.
A food truck.
Yeah, the food truck guy. And I've got to figure out the coffee thing. You know, I've tried many different systems on the coffee, and it's turned out to be the biggest pain in the ass of the whole show. So we're going to make that simple because I do think you need coffee.
Oh, yeah.
You and I had to get coffee. We're at 7-Eleven when we went down to the recent Mack Fest.
Yep. There was no coffee there at Mack Fest.
How about the Mack Fest?
Oh, yeah, it was great. I always have a good time there. Scored me a motor off a chainsaw for the early Bonanza.
That was a big deal. So we're walking through Mack Fest. And I don't know if you've been to Mack Fest, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we went. This is my maybe my third time. And it's just great just to see the guys. There, who was there? Minibike Paul. We saw Nick.
Cliff. Yeah, Nick.
Your guys were out there. Mentioned Danny, right? Danny was out there.
Jake Moe was there.
Jake Moe, my man Jake. Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf showed up.
Yep. It was nice. I didn't see Charles.
No, I didn't see none of those guys.
D.
I didn't see D.
And you know who I was looking forward to seeing is Daryl Smith.
I didn't see him either.
I missed you, Daryl. But, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, even my event. Dude, it's tough to get people every Saturday, any Saturday. It's L.A., right?
I had to work.
Yeah, right. Plus that, too. Right? You have to work.
But I didn't need more stuff either, so that's another reason I didn't go.
I got close.
Yeah.
One of the guys he had two of the bikes. There was two bikes particularly. Three bikes actually worth taking home. The little Petro, although that wasn't the matching engine, it needed some parts, but that was a good starter, wasn't it? Took some photos of that. People like that.
That's too small for me.
Yeah, but that's just a bike. Ed, move the little banners here. Show them the Temecula Bob little bike. Can you get that in there? So now the little Petro's much smaller than even this. Yeah, we don't want to ruin the sponsor, but we've got a Temecula Bob mini frame there. And the little Petro is like a third of that size.
Oh, yeah.
So the smallness is cool. Like I could see you building one of those bikes and really turning it out, you know?
I bought a little guy there at Max. Looks like a little Friole.
Oh, okay.
A few years ago.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
thing.
Much smaller.
Tiny
though.
thing.
Yeah,
I got a little, what is it? It's a Lawson Power Products.
Okay. But what size frame was that, though?
1,000, little guy.
Oh, really?
Tiny one. Mac had 2 or 3 of them there. He was selling for $100.
Okay.
I grabbed one of them.
So then you're just like me. You got attracted to the really small ones, too? So they had that one there, and then they had a Rupp
Nice.
that needed not much, right?
Right. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, the blue one had the original tank, the original blue paint, had those cool little wheels.
That was Danny Boy's, too.
Yeah, so he had 2 of them, and then there's a swap meet guy. I met 2. There was a new swap meet guy that was there with his daughter, and I'm always interested in those guys. I think it's Johnny Robles. It's Robles mini bikes and go-karts. He was there with his daughter selling some stuff. And then there was the other guy that's always there. He had the taco with the West Bend 820.
Oh, yeah.
What's that guy's name?
I don't know.
Man, it's like, I want to say
I
Bob.
see him every swap meet,
He's
man.
been in my
I
swap
don't know
meet.
his name.
So how could you forget, what's his name? I see him too, and I usually, I got fucking Joe stamped on my head at the shirt and the jacket, so it's easy to figure out what idiot I am. But and I really like him. His stuff is always nice, but he's always asking retail, and I don't have the balls to tell him I'm going to give him like less than half of it. But I would have taken home the little Petro and that Rupp, as well as that little taco. I'm not sure, what was that? A burrito? Yeah, that was a burrito.
It was a burrito, yeah.
Yeah. With that West Bend, especially if the West Bend was finished. I love the pipe on that thing. Yeah. All these photos are on the Facebook post that we had from Mack Fest. It was a good time. We had a good time there.
We gotta wish Mac some good success tomorrow on his operation.
Well, Mac, who had the what was that movie that Robert Redford was in when he grew that big Evil Ed beard? That's what Mac looked like. He looked like a mountain man. He had that big white beard, and he was getting ready to go in for eye surgery, right, Ed?
Yeah.
So he's going in tomorrow. We wish him the best.
Cataract.
No cataract jokes. We tried that shit earlier.
I thought he was one.
And then you're going to go in too.
Lincoln man myself.
I can see you in a Mark 7 slammed. And then you're going to do a little checkup tomorrow too, right?
Yeah, I get my, semi-annual checkup.
Sorry,
see how I'm doing.
Moths are getting it.
Seeing if I'm breathing, kidneys are working, all that.
I see you're cutting back on the cigarettes.
supposed to be having quit by now.
All right, so we'll work towards
I
that.
haven't quit yet.
Well, you have to cut back on your way there. Step in the right direction.
If I don't smoke, I don't know what I'd do.
Build mini bikes. Finish that damn one or two of those bikes of mine that you got over there, right?
Where are they at?
I don't know. I hope so. I know that they were last there. I went to Ed's house to pick him up for Mack Fest. I didn't hit the door locks immediately as I exited. It wasn't until I came to a complete stop. It was like when I went to Big Daddy Motorsports. Remember you and I? Yeah. Ed and I got off. We were going just a little south of Compton, and as Ed and I got off the exit off the 110, it immediately said, "Go home, white boys." And we continued on, and we made it, and I had a great time. I'd never seen so many outdoor barbecues.
Yeah.
The big barrels, they cut them in half. Like, we got to stop there. I'm still salivating from that because we could just hear we got there early on a Sunday, so they were just firing up the coals. I bet there's some good chicken and ribs down there. Oh, yeah. So speaking of, we missed Big Daddy, Daryl. So hopefully we'll see you on October the 14th. Once again, it's the Big Joe's Minibike Reunion. I put the big banner up. Ed, was the banner big enough?
Yeah, it looks good.
So I officially get the sense that it's happening when I put my banner up at Ralph's. So today I did that.
Oh, it's up at Ralph's?
Yeah.
All right.
I've never had official permission, but the people that work there know it's me, and we're good so far. I worry more about people stealing it and vandalism rather than the Ralph's. I think the Ralph's folks have more busy things to worry about than my son.
Start locking my door when I come over here now, too?
Well, look, that's everywhere, unfortunately. But these doors will be open for the next couple of weeks as we get ready for the big event. I was down having lunch at the Peterson Museum the other day. In fact, it was 2 days ago. Seeing a friend of mine, Dave Wallace. Dave is the editor of Hot Rod Deluxe, which is a spin-off of Hot Rod Magazine, a great book looking at nostalgia racers and gassers and Famosa and Bakersfield. And Dave is a great hot rodder, but he's also a wordsmith, and he is independent guy, kind of like I am. We work for the big company 10, but we're independent. And he and I work together because he's an agency for a company called Maximum Motorsports, which is a company up in San Luis Obispo that makes performance parts for Mustangs. And Dave represents them, and I sell ads, and we work together. And I went down there to buy him lunch, and while I was there, we ran into Bruce Myers as well as Terry Cargius. Those are the head honchos at the Peterson Museum. And they were there awaiting the arrival of someone they were taking out to lunch. And it turns out to be a guy that I know, Roy Brizio from Brizio Street Rods, who built some badass street rods. I've known Roy for a while, and it was all of us were together in that lobby. And we had lunch at separate tables. And just my luck, Ed, because I picked up the bill. I know my role, right? So I got to buy the friggin' lunch. We go to some, there used to be a Johnny Rockets at the lobby of the Peterson. Yeah. So when my guests, I said, well, where do you want to go for lunch? And they said, well, let's just go downstairs. Like, nah, we can do better than that. It's like, well, all right, we thought you'd like it. It's like, nah. And I don't call out Johnny Rockets. I'm assuming we're both talking about Johnny Rockets. And so, well, where are we going to go? So we didn't know. We were walking out of the lobby, and I see this beautiful Italian restaurant. It's like, wow, well, what's this? They said, well, this is where we want to take you. It's like, shit, I thought it was Johnny Rockets. It's like, so we ended up having a nice little lunch at that little Italian restaurant. And on the way out, I paid for my bill. On the way out, Bruce Meyer comes over trying to pay for our lunch. But he was a great idea, but just too late. But while we were there talking, I was reintroduced, and I mentioned to him that I had my little mini bike show and how cool it would be. I told him I'd already mentioned it to Terry, how cool it would be to have a mini bike display at the Peterson Museum. And he went into his story about his first Doodlebug, how Bruce Myers had his own little corner. I think it was Highland and Melrose when he was a kid selling papers. He used to make like $3 a day when his friends would maybe make that in a week or two. And he was able to buy his own stuff. He was buying mini bikes and go-karts. He could have bought a car just from his paper route. And, he, like everybody else, not only had a story about mini bikes, but he had a scar that he was all too anxious to show, and I did the same. And so it goes. Sure. So I followed up immediately, because that's just how I am. That afternoon, on my way home, in fact, I think I'm still coming home. You know where the museum is. It's on Wilshire. Okay. So
it's all new, right? Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, you should go. You should check it out. Yeah. But on the way down there, I knew Wilshire is all under construction, like literally.
Is it?
They're expecting it to be under construction for 8 years.
Wow.
They've combined it to like single lane. It's a friggin' nightmare. And every artery to get to Wilshire, whether it's Highland or La Brea or La Cienega, traffic stopped, lights not working. So I barely get there for the lunch. On the way back, I left a little bit early, almost to a point where I was a little rude because I wanted to get the hell out of there. I had other shit to do. I had this to do, and you know, it's busy for me. I'm making pretty good time. I get to Sunset and Highland, and we get stopped. Cops come out of the woodwork immediately. They reroute us down Sunset. It takes me an hour and 45 minutes to get home. It turns out there's this rapper, Young Dolph, who got shot at Sunset and Highland right at the time, and they were blocking it off to try to catch the guy who tried to escape. They actually caught him. So it was one of those days, but so I finally get home a couple hours later, and I get right to the computer. Send my guy a thank you note and mention to Terry how great it was to see him, and I'd really like to do this mini bike deal. You know, so he said, well, hey, that was a good idea. We talked about it. It's a 2-year, they're already working on a 2-year schedule, 2-year plan. So I said, maybe we could do something next year. It's like, so you got to get in line. I guess that's kind of the story. So we have an opportunity to put together a little plan, how many bikes we'd like to have, what type of bikes, what the theme would be, all the stuff that you would submit for them to consider it as a theme, and not for a day. Like when they
need it.
It's like a month. You know, they follow a theme, and that's something that maybe we can shoot for, because that would be really cool, don't you think?
Oh man,
How would be nice if I could say, hey Greg, can you bring the Rutman on display for the?
yeah. After I was done pulling myself off the floor.
How cool.
We would do that, yeah. That'd be cool.
And just to think, Ed, it'd probably be tough to do because we'd probably have to have a limit. But you know, finding the bikes that
They're small.
yeah, they're small. We could fit a lot in. Well, they had a nice setup there already. They had some Indians there. They had some Harleys there, toppers, the Harley toppers. You remember those
Yeah, I've
bikes?
been there a few times. I haven't been there since they redid it.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
cool.
I know it was down for a long time. It's cool. Took the family up there. It's a good one to walk. They got a kids level up on top. The kids would play around up there. It's great. Yeah, I mean,
we got off of that floor by mistake, and all you could do is see kids running around. It's like, shut the door, shut the door.
There you go, exactly.
Go down to the silver room.
Yeah.
Well, it was a fun day, and it all leads up to a pretty good week. And the Mack Fest was fun. It was interesting. We even joked about it, about Mini Bike Paul, because I think despite the fact that he likes to give me a hard time, he really likes the fact that we're trying to keep the mini bike world going, right? Keep the event going. And so I say, hi, Paul, how you doing? And he immediately starts, right? He immediately starts. Hey, he says, I was wondering if you were mad or something. It's like, what are you talking about now? Well, you made that comment on the Facebook. The Facebook, right? It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Speak English, dude. He goes, well, you said, hey, thanks, Paul. You thought of all the good mini bike stuff. I said, oh, yeah. I said, I was talking about doing an image of Ed for a T-shirt and a decal, and you posted a photo of a decal that you had made about Ed years ago, right?
Yeah, that was years ago.
How long was that?
Got to be 5 or 6 years ago.
It seemed longer. It's online. If you just Google Evil Ed under images.
The original one came from when we were soapbox racing, and then it turned into mini bike racing, the illegal mini bike racing.
You had shades on too in that line art. Didn't you have like the John Lennon round ones? Yeah. So that image is out there, and I complimented Paul because he has done things like the events and the rides and using you. So I gave him a legitimate compliment. He thinks I was busting his chops. So I think we'll always have that.
That's the way he is.
Yeah, but it was great to see him. He was telling some great stories about the motorhome and his wife, and that was part of the fun. We hung out at Mack's we were there for like 5 hours or 4 hours. It sure seemed like that.
Went slow too.
I missed Ian. We didn't see Ian as well. Ian or the Cordovas, but they're getting ready for the big event. Thank you for that. I did see Jake Moe. Greg, you probably appreciate this as a former winner. We revised the judging. We have all new judges.
Yeah.
We have different categories. They're all posted on the Facebook page, and Emmanuel recently updated that. Thank you. It's also on my Facebook as well as my website. If you go to the event info, you'll see all the categories. And some of them are first, second, and third. Others are winner and runner-up. And we have Jake Moe. We have Ian. We have you helping. when needed.
When needed.
We also, if he would like to, Drew from OMB, who's going to hopefully be out visiting us. He can jump in. We also have George.
Vicky can help too.
Nikki can do anything she wants. You better hold her tight with you around. Your eyes get like squirrely when you bring her up.
I like Vicky. She's
Sure,
cool.
it's not to like. And we have a new gentleman, Ray Mila. Ray is going to be helping judge with the Honda Vintage class, which are the CT70s and the Z50s, as well as he's helping George with that, but he's going to spearhead the judging with the Mini Moto, which is the Grom and the Kawasaki Pro 125, and the scooter class, which are the Twist and Go guys. Ray is a great builder. He is an exceptional customizer. He's also he's like a movie star looking guy, and he flies planes like fucking Tom Cruise. I mean, he's one of those guys where, it's like, man, what doesn't he do? And I asked him late because we had our eyes on one guy that was going to particularly help us with that Mini Moto scooter class. And it's tough because all those guys know each other. And the judging is a little bit more to those guys than like you and I. They ride a lot. They have a lot of money into them, and it is a lot of showmanship. So the guys that I had my eye on for the judging, they had such a wide scope of friends that they felt they couldn't be impartial. So I got a guy that is capable and anxious to do it, and he's going to join us. So the judging is going to be cool. And the judging is also going to take place, Greg, where before you even roll out and place your bike, you go through that little bridge.
Yeah.
Right there, we'll not only check your confirmation, but we'll be able to capture your bike, get it on a platform for the judges while you go out and take a couple photos and sign in and get your goodie bag. So by the time you're coming back, your bike's judged.
Nice.
You're all ready to go. So now you go park under that shady tree. There's no, hey, did I get judged? Or, hey, I wonder who, you're there. And there's also no worried about, hey, if there's any bikes here, I find myself doing that around the time we're doing the awards. Hey, if any bikes did not get judged,
right?
And then it's like, well, wait a minute, we don't even know how the hell. So we're getting to a place where the judging, which was not a big concern because we were just worried about attracting bikes the first few years.
It's a walk in the park.
Now it's a place where justifiably the judging is not only expected, but we needed to bring our game up.
Right.
So bikes like that and all the other bikes really get a true good look by the guys that really know the stuff. So we've got a good group. I'm really happy about that. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Candyman, Eric over at Studs. He's got the big Candyman Extravaganza 2. It's this Friday, September the 29th from 7 to 11. Gates open at 6:30. For more information, you can contact the folks over at Studs. This is the second time that they've done this, and that's just a testament to Eric's effort. He's got the place where they borrow all the parts there at Studs in Detroit, but he's also legitimately a really cool guy. He's a builder. He's a racer. He's entry level, trying to get young kids in and first timers in. They've got first time bracket racing that anybody can do, up to full out drags, which attract the guys like the Pizza Boy and my man Calman Carisi. Myron may be out there, our main man Myron Bailey. In fact, I talked to Emmanuel earlier, and it's unfortunate, but we're unable to do the Motor City Minute this segment because he's moving tomorrow. He's got to take all this stuff and move it. He's got movers there early. We're actually thinking about maybe trying to postpone that, but it just turned out for us to try to do an edited version. So unfortunately, we won't be hearing from Myron, which is one of the treats. I love not only hearing you, but seeing you, Myron. And we won't be doing that tonight. I want to wish your mom a very happy birthday. I understand that you were with her tonight. How she tolerates you more than 20 minutes, I have no idea. She's definitely going right to heaven. Speaking of that, I want to mention and offer our condolences to Steve McDonald. Steve is the Vice President of Government Affairs for SEMA. He's my age, and this morning, unexpectedly, passed away, which was a shock to everybody. So our condolences to the family there. That'll sure put things in perspective, right? Also, I was lucky enough, it depends what day it was, to help and work with, through SEMA, West Coast Customs. I think they still have a show on TV. Ryan Westing or Freelinghouse and all these zany folks at West Coast Customs, they would put like the fish tanks in the back of cars and all that shit in.
See, that gets me confused with the West Coast Customs Custom Car Club. It's been around for a long time.
That name, like everybody's kind of got like a West Coast. I think West Coast Customs name had been bantered around before, but they gave it some notoriety through the TV show. And that was, I think there was a rapper at the time who hosted that early on. Exhibit. Yeah, see, he's chiming in. You know, I didn't even think he was born back then. Christ. So West Coast Customs used to do some promotions at SEMA where we would literally build a vehicle, and I'd work getting the parts and the advertising and sponsorship from the customers and the manufacturers, and they would build the vehicles, and it was chaos most of the time, kind of in a good way, but most of the time it was just no one really had their stuff dialed in. Ultimately, the car got done, which was amazing, but there was one guy there that was rock solid. He knew exactly not the part he wanted, but he already went to the website, talked to the guy, knew it needed the 2 brackets, needed to had 2-day shipping, because if he didn't do that, he didn't get in enough time to get it done. He really had all his stuff together. And in the midst of a bunch of misfits, again, in a good way, Sean was a steady guy, and it was like, all right, let me talk to Sean, because you want to kill somebody, then you get to the point where you get to Sean, and he'd take care of everything. He's rolling to go to some, I guess he was making custom custom wheelchairs for folks with disability that still wanted to skateboard or still wanted to, yeah, and he would make each one of them individually to suit their needs out of his garage with a small team. He was going to an event, I think for handicapped related or a charitable deal for folks with disability, riding his bike on the 5 and got taken out in the hit and run. Still can't find the guy. Wow. So, and that was on the 5. And I'm thinking of me and you cruising on the 5. What was it, Saturday?
Yeah.
Like nothing, beautiful day. He was probably doing the same thing. So rest in peace, Sean Mohini, my main man from formerly of West Coast Customs, and to all his family. Turns out that it's there's some shit going on, Ed. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. I also wanted to mention that we had a ton of folks that I missed the last few podcasts that we'll get to a little bit later on, particularly the guys that are helping out with the upcoming event. I had this book, Ed. I think I still have yours. This one I left for Greg. This is like a little flip book it's like a pictorial essay of all the mayhem from the first Minibike Reunion.
Did Paul say something about the book too?
He did. I think that was more positive because he's a printer, right?
Very nice.
Yes. I think you. Oh yes. He asked me. How I was able to do that, and how I can't be making any money, right?
Right there.
And I said, well, we've got some folks helping out a little bit. We got some sponsors. We're gonna be okay, Paul. So he's looking out for me. I think, he just does it in a different way, right?
Different way.
Yes. But Minibike Paul, I asked him if he had any of those bikes that he was hoarding up that he'd sell, but he doesn't want to give any up. Hey, we've asked some folks if they have any questions, either for myself or Evil Ed, or for that matter, Greg. If you wanted to, just send in your questions and we'll check them at the break, and then we'll find one that's worth reading, and we'll give them a small engine cam from Tim over at Iski. Ed, I need some help. I've got to figure out how we're going to give away these gifts or these prizes. We've got the engine, we've got the torque converter, we've got the roller, we've got another pipe from F&B coming. There's like a handful of other things. Do we build up, and Greg, you're a participant, do we build up the bike completely, or do we give away the roller and then separately give away the engine?
I think we just give away the roller.
Separate, more stuff.
Give away the torque converter separately.
Because some people will get the frame and maybe they don't want the torque converter. Maybe they don't want that engine.
There you go.
Well, we've talked about this, and I can't get too mad about it, but we give away cams from small engine cams on a regular basis on the show. And when we do, it takes me a couple days to get them. I open up the box, I reroute it, and send it to people. In fact, D, I still have yours. I brought Dee's cam. Congratulations, you won the camshaft from the last podcast. I brought it with me to give to you at Mack's. And even if you were there, I would have forgotten to give it to you, right, Ed? Because I left
Did you forget Jake's helmet?
I forgot Jake's helmet too. Good thought, but anyway, so I'll bring Jake your helmet, and Dee, I'll bring your cam. But when I finally get them to the winner, and they're cool guys, and they're guys that follow the podcast, come to the show, they build bikes. They're anxious to get it. They're all celebratory. Thanks, high five. Thanks, Ed. Hashtag fucking everything, right?
I know exactly where you're going with this.
It's on Craigslist the next day. You know?
Yep, that's probably what would happen to that bike.
Well, Minibike Paul bought one of my giveaways from 2014. I bought 2 Isuzu kits. Yeah. One was purple, which we assembled. We had like a build up on site. And we had too many hecklers for that, so we decided not to do that. Plus, it took us 10 minutes to build it. And then I had a purple one, and a purple one and a maroon one. They were powder coated nicely. They were nice rollers. And the guy barely got it out of the parking lot. And it was on Craigslist the next day, and Minibike Paul knew a deal. You know, he's bought enough of those mini bikes where the guy was asking like a couple $100, and you take that shit personal, right? Because you went through the whole process of getting it and building it and wanting to give it away, and sometime when they sell it so quickly,
would appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the real world.
It's on Craigslist for sale.
It's no different with us than it is anybody else. So, Greg, besides your wife knowing that you were going to win, all of our wives think we're going to win, right? But when you were walking around there, what bikes got your attention at the show?
I like the year that I won, I liked the Barris bike for sure.
Right, you mentioned that one.
I think last year the one that stands out was, I think Jake Moe built it, the one that was under construction, had the 2 5-horse Briggs on it. That was amazing.
It was parked right up near Frankenstein, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea.
There was another one there where the guy had let's say he had a supercharger on it. Parked kind of in the trees off third row back.
I remember the little mini bike.
Like Dave Miller bike or something?
It was pretty
wild.
wild.
I don't know if it was that year, though. I thought that was a couple years back.
It was there last year, I think.
We see some twin turbo ruckuses
just
there.
Craziness, yeah.
I sometimes, again, running around trying to figure out if you got enough large T-shirts, who wants a decal, or somebody just showed up, you got to say hi to her. The lady's complaining that it's too loud, the dyno's too loud, or somebody wants to know if it's like, I don't get the chance just to like, you know what? Take all this shit off, just walk around. And see all the bikes. And it isn't until after, it's almost like months later, my daughter, Nikole, thank you in advance, Nikole, for all you do. You'd be working your ass off with the show already. Love her, though. Dave, her boyfriend's a big help. She does this hardcover book for me. That's where I got my idea for that book, Greg. She does a nice hardcover book for me. And it isn't until, and she photoshops the photos, and she has a little bit of a theme to it, unlike what I crafted. But it gives me that pause where I said, wow. It's almost my first time really getting a chance to look at all the cool bikes that were there. And the first 2 years, I definitely missed that because I was really scattered trying to get things settled at the event. Now I'm at a place where I got some time and I've got some help, and I've got some other folks that are doing some of the things that I was running around doing. Emmanuel, unfortunately, won't be making it this year because he's got... he's always doing something, but with the Scleroderma Foundation, he's doing a little double duty. But who's helping us out, E?
Andrew.
Andrew's our stand-in. Andrew, I know Andrew from the podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. He bought the wrong vehicle, though. Didn't he buy some Ford hybrid?
Yeah, he's paying way too much for that sucker, too.
Did he? All right, so we'll let him easy on that. E, on that, we'll hook up with Andrew, and who knows, maybe even set that up almost halfway there the night before, right? Yeah, because we got Mr. Black there. He'll be there doing a security. Thank you, Mr. Black, for all that. We've got the food trucks. I've heard some things about the dyno. The position of the dyno. It's too noisy for the swap meters. Matt brought it up again. So it'd be the 5th time that Matt brought it up. So I think after the 5th time, we'll give him a little break. And my wife mentioned it. She was selling the apparel, and she couldn't really hear. So, yeah, so maybe we just turn it around. Instead of it facing...
Too loud, you're too old.
There you go. Face the houses.
Face the houses, right? And I had one woman on the local La Crescenta Facebook page.
Well, can't you just turn it a quarter turn?
You can do anything we want. we'll do that.
That way it's facing the other side of the park?
I thought if we reversed it, then it's shooting towards the park.
Towards
not-
the empty side of the park.
It's towards that skateboard area. So reversing it doesn't give you that flow where you come right into the event and go into the dyno. You've got to go around, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
They'll find it.
look, if all we got so far is a little issue with the noise,
Hear it.
yeah. And this year we're giving away a nice cup for I think it's Dino Champ, and it'll be the bike that pulls the most horsepower, unlimited class. So no matter if you show up with a 3-horse or a 30-horse, it's whoever has the highest horsepower pull on the dyno will win a nice cup. That's going to be sponsored again by not only Steady Garage, but also CRC. They sponsor the dyno for us at Roadkill. So, and they're also sending me a bunch of cool things. You know, we get all the spray stuff, the brake clean and the power lube and all this other stuff, but they have earplugs, which would be perfect for anybody that had a problem with the dyno, Ed. We'll give them some
I can
CRC
see
here.
Mac walking around with some earplugs.
I can see it with those nighttime
How much
glasses.
you want for that, Mac? Huh?
Yeah. Well, he does good. He's always there in the corner. We'll have him there. And also, what's cool now is that the registration starts to come in. Our guys are cash guys. They're not credit card guys. This is not the Tom Petty show where people buy tickets in advance on StubHub. People show up if they're capable of getting up, and they show up and they grab whatever's on the counter, glasses, car keys, cell phone, and they show up at my event. Whether they got $20 or $200, who knows, who cares, but it's a cash deal, so I don't get a lot of folks that pre-register as a result, but we get a smattering. We get maybe 50, 60 of them that pre-register, and the rest of them come on site. So for those of you who have pre-registered, and there's a group of you, thank you. And it's nice for me because I get like a little ping, bing, Evil Ed, or
You're welcome.
you just did too.
You just thanked me.
Greg Jensen, you just registered 2 bikes. You've got a Ruttman and a Taco 22, right?
That's it. And bring both.
Can you, well, keep this in mind. I'd like to get a little sneak peek at what maybe you're bringing with those 2 bikes, doing anything. I'm sure you're doing a lot of cool things with those. But I get a little ping every time anybody registers or buys, for example, a swap meet space. So 2 days ago, I get a ping. I look at it. And I realize I need glasses. So I get my glasses and I look at this thing. And it says, Coker Tire purchased a 10x10 space, $35.
That's cool.
That may be them now.
Coke or tire?
Peter, I got some questions. And I said, so I look at this thing and I check it out. It said Coker Tire 10x10 space, $35. So, well, that's cool. Those cool white walls. You ever see the Trail 70s with the white walls?
Yeah.
Well, they've got those small ones, but they got white wall tires for, my 51 Chevy, and everybody buys them. They're like BFG silver tones.
I got Cokers on my Bug.
Oh, I got them on my
White wall.
trailer.
Yeah.
I got them, and
They have everything.
they do, and I love them. And Corky Coker, well, Wade Kawasaki, who is a high up there at Coker, is also a prominent player within SEMA. I reach out to him. I say, hey, Wade, I said, I received a notice that you're purchasing a booth at my mini bike show. He goes, yep, I'll be there with my Honda 70. It's like, great, man. So he's coming out, and I said, hey, would you think about maybe bringing some banners, and would you like to give away a set of tires? He goes, call my people.
Yeah.
I sent a little email over.
Cool, man.
So we got Coker Tire there. Mack will be there. The guy whose name we can't remember from, right? from the Mack
Yeah,
Fest.
I don't know his name.
And all the other guys that show
I
up.
don't think I ever knew his name. He just started coming up and talking to me.
That's a good nickname.
Yeah, that's what you do. You always call him like, and when I noticed Dave Freiberger when he announces the drag racers, despite the fact that we have a card that says it's Joe Sebergandio and a 70 Duster,
Sure.
no one's holding cards. Like
Right.
we're at a drag strip. It's hot out. We don't want water or beer.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, so it's Duster guy. You're just Duster guy.
Yeah.
You're just Camaro guy. You're just dirty truck guy. And it's so easy. And the names are so we'll try those. So we've got Coker coming. We've got all the other guys that we don't know by name. We'll just call him high price swap meet nice guy. That's his name, right? He's coming. A lot of folks are coming. So get your registrations in there now, because I like to get pinged in the morning, if you know what I mean. And there is some savings. There are some savings as a result there too. I want to give a shout out to my man Tim from Piston Driven. They're working on all our new apparel. In fact, if you don't mind, maybe you can pop up the image that you helped with. Ed, you thought I was nuts when I was taking some photos of you,
Yeah.
right?
What the hell?
And I had you turn in like looking stoic.
Looking all kinds of ways.
Then I said, pretend you're pondering. He says, what's that? It's like, I don't know. I heard it somewhere. So he said, is this it? It's like, yeah, that's it. So we got all these pictures of Ed, and then I sent them to E, and that's the beauty of E. That's why I love you. I send E 4 photos, 4 black and white stills, 4 or 40, whatever I sent. He sends them back, filtered, unfiltered, colored, 2 color, 4 color, you on acid, you with sunglasses. I mean, 50 different filtered images, and we've got one that I think you're going to really love. Ed approved it, that we're going to have on a t-shirt, and then we also have a toned down version of that will create a new logo, or excuse me, a new decal. So this year at Joe's Minibike Reunion, and I'm also bringing I'm bringing back black shirts. Black shirts. I got a lot of grief over the white shirts over the years. People want dark so they don't see grease. I get it. But we will keep the kids' shirts white and the ladies' shirts in red. Try to color it up a little bit. But we have the event shirt as well as the Evil Ed shirt and hat.
Nice.
So I tell Ed, Glenn, I say, look, we don't have a lot of these things. Like, we're going to get like 36 of them. They're going to cost us like about $18. We're going to try to sell them for 25. Don't give any of this shit away, Ed. You know what's going to happen. All your buddies are going to come and say, hey, dude, give me one of your shirts. Hey, it's like you got to tell them there's no freebies. And it's hard because I've been through it. And I give a lot of stuff away, especially my good friends that come and or help me out or the media. And my wife's told me, we have to, at some point, you're giving away $20 bills, right? So no freebies, especially on the limited run Evil Ed shirts. And look at this way of supporting Evil Ed. Ed's getting paid a minimal royalty on this. He doesn't get shit if you're getting a free shirt. And we have an Evil Ed hat.
Oh, God.
An Evil Ed hat.
I didn't know about the hat.
Yes, the hat you're going to love. I see the black one you have on now. You're going to really like these.
All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll see.
You're going to like those. And the hats, Ed, I got killed on hats. Hats are more than the shirts.
What?
Remember the day you thought that hats were...
The hats were cheap.
Yeah, that's how it was in the 60s and the 70s when you played Little League and they gave you a hat and a shirt. Now, the hats, you can get them fitted. You can get them trucker. You can get them half vented. You can get them snapback. You can get them clip back. So you show me a couple hats. They pulled this rope down. 5,000 hats drop from $6, 6 cents to $20. We found a nice one in the middle. But when it was all said and done, the hat was a little bit more to purchase bulk. The ones that we're getting, and I could have got shitty hats, but I like nice hats. They're a little bit more than the t-shirts.
Wow.
And the extra large t-shirts are substantially more than the larges. Right. And that I didn't realize too, because I remember I got killed on my website. I put all the sizes down there for $20, and all the people, we have a lot of larger folks.
Large.
Extra.
Large.
Yeah. We should get one now that just says fat.
Fat.
Makes your mini bike look smaller if you're big.
One of the best photos I have. And he looks good. Do you see Papa Smurf at Max?
Yeah.
Dude looks skinny.
Yeah, when he was on here, he looked kind of heavy.
When he was sitting on that bike. But one of the best photos is that big dude on the Honda Trail 70. You ever see that photo of the guy with the striped shirt riding the big Trail 70? And he's hanging off
those two guys, the two fat guys, and all you see is their back.
Oh, yeah, because the bike swallowed up. Well, this was close to it. Papa Smurf was sitting on a little bike there, and he swallowed it. But Papa Smurf, you were looking good, man. Looking tight. Had those creased jeans on. You know where he was going? He was going down to see the boys down at Joe's Mini Bikes and GT. And
oh, okay.
Yeah, he's building that nice bike that he's working on. I've never seen a guy so happy to get a set of friggin' grips in my life, Ed.
I know. He was happy.
What was the deal with those? They were just a great price and they were red.
Yeah, they were. Well, the guy had, red metal flake, blue metal flake, and one other set. I forgot what color they were.
So you came across the motor. We're walking around. And I think I started this. We were at Max walking around the backyard.
Well, I had asked him already, do you have a Tecumseh AH-58? And then he said no. And then when I go there the day before to help him, I see he's got these AH-47s out. So I'm looking around at him, and then I see a chainsaw that he was going to try and sell.
Was it in that same spot?
No, it was over off to the right a little bit.
Yeah. For those of you who were at the Mack Fest, as you walked in, it was up on the right. There was
And
a
I
green
just-
chainsaw.
I just walk over to it, and I kind of had to step up a little bit to see the nameplate on it. And it was a AH-58. I said, Mac, you do have one. It's on this chainsaw. He goes, oh, well, go ahead and take it.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
Score.
Yeah.
I have to change the crank in it, but it needs a rebuild anyway. You know, I'm not going to put it in there the way it is.
Well, you had the blade off of it and had it
Yeah.
packed up, and we threw it in the back of the
Threw it in
truck.
back. Then you gave me a ride to pick up my not new truck to me. It's not new, but
93?
93 Chevy,
Yep. Extended cab. Is that long bed or a short bed?
Long bed.
Yeah.
lowered.
Slammed, not lowered.
I don't know why I got it. I'm like 61 years old driving a lowrider, but I like it.
Yeah, you look all right in it.
It's all right.
Yeah. He had, he's a Chevy guy. See, you went from white to black. You went from a kind of
From
a
a
almost,
99 to a 93.
and that almost looked lifted, you know, especially compared to this. So you
Yeah,
went
the
from
99 was four-wheel drive.
yeah. Well,
I like it.
what'd you do with that? Craigslist, $500 or?
Probably.
Yeah, just do it. Get it out of your deal. You know, and you can move on to this. So what do you got to do with the new truck now?
The usual. Probably get a front end alignment. Do a little wiring fixing that the guy pulled out a air suspension kit. He pulled it out, but he left the gauges and stuff inside.
You got to really get that thing up on a rack then, right? Take a
Yeah.
look at it. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll hook you up with our friends over at Campbell Automotive,
Doesn't
right down the
really
street
need
there.
that much.
No, but it's nice to look at them.
It's not a new truck. I didn't pay a lot for it, but
Yeah. Well, it'll get you. What did you say? You wanted to have it for a few years, right? If you rolled around.
yeah,
You know,
as long as
so-
it lasted for a few years.
Well, I'm going to the SEMA show pretty soon, so put your little wish list in. I'll see if I can see some folks. You need a little suspension. Are those wheels dirty or black? What's
They're dirty and black.
all right? And we probably need some exhaust, right? Maybe we talk to our guys over at Gibson Exhaust, see what they got there.
Yeah.
Find you some cat back or something.
Something, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll look to do that. We'll have pictures of Ed's truck up on the Facebook page. Come and see it yourself. In fact, come and meet Evil Ed. October the 14th, Joe's Minibike Reunion. We're going to take a quick little break. Tonight's show is going to be a little bit edited because, as I said before, Emmanuel and his family, speaking of his family, how many awards did Elle win today?
She won the big one, the student of the month.
Student of the month, head of the cheerleading,
Nice.
head of everything over there.
Custody.
Oh, she does a smile. She's like she's a machine. She'll be the first woman president.
All righty.
So, and then we got the talented Aaron, who is Emmanuel's son, who came up with our great little theme song and our little close. They're doing well, but they're moving. He's moving on up, and he's got movers coming in. So we're going to have somewhat of an edited version of the podcast. We're here with Greg Jensen, the 2015 Joe's Minibike Reunion People's Choice Champion. Earlier, Emmanuel was taking some photos of his cool little Rutman. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll talk a little bit more about what's happening with Evil Ed's Vintage Bonanza. And we'll give a couple shout-outs, and then we're going to call it a night, folks. We do have one more podcast before the event. I'm trying to see if we can have an extended show. I talked to Emmanuel about that, and we may do that. Typically, we run about 2 hours. Tonight, we'll run a little bit less. But when we come back for probably our final show before the jamboree, the reunion.
The jamboree.
I don't know. I'm thinking jamboree.
Jamboree.
Hey, you know what? That does remind me of the Off-Road Expo, which is here in town at Pomona this weekend. And also, for those of you who are into Honda Groms and Kawasaki's, Pro 125s, or for that matter, twist and go scooters or anything. Kickstands up 9 o'clock, second in Beaudry, as the Honda SoCal Grom faction led by my main man Bing Di Florino. They'll be going down to America Honda Motors in Torrance, leaving kickstands up at 9 o'clock, going down to Torrance Saturday morning. Meet them there. Get there about 8:30. Roll down there. You get a little tour of what's happening at Honda. I want to say hi to my man Charlie as well as Pete Eastburn from Honda. They come to the event. Thank you for that. Really hoping to work with Honda in a bigger capacity going forward. Who knows, Ed? Maybe when they introduce that big Honda Grom. Right now it's 125. They say they may have like a 150 coming down the pike.
really?
Maybe they'll give us one to give away.
That'd be nice.
They're the Honda people. They do nice shit for people. See the commercials?
Yeah.
They pick up your parking. They fix your window. They buy your kid a trumpet. Maybe they can give us a mini bike.
Joe's Minibike Reunion.
Charlie did a really nice job. He came to the event last year, did a nice piece. And not only did he acknowledge that the Honda brand is really big there through the Trail 70s and the Z50s, but if you look at many of the modified bikes, they're using Honda power plants. You know, so
They're
and then
made better than the clothes.
and then when you look at the swap meet, there's a lot of Honda parts there selling for good prices, so the resale value's there. So, you know, the Honda guys, when they show up, they know what they're doing. We've got the local dealer there, Honda of Glendale. Thank you, Darlene. You doll. She's now my Facebook friend. She gives us a ton of support. Remember walking in there trying to buy a Honda. You ever try to buy a Honda from her, she'll kick your ass. You know, she make you pay more and like it. You know, I loved her, and I bought 2 or 3 bikes there, and I was afraid of her every time. I walked in there when I first doing this mini bike thing. I had the little flyer with me. I was going in there just trying to tell her about the show, and when she put my little banner up, she sat me down, had a big smile, gave me a hug, put my banner up, wrote me a check, gave me more helmets than I could carry, decals, shirts, keychains. She let me borrow a generator. She drug up all her new Ruckuses at the time. There were no Groms. She brought some vintage Z50s, the Christmas editions, popcorn machine. There was 6 people out there the first 2 years, counting me. And she came back the next year, gave me more money, gave me more product, more popcorn. And finally I say, look, you don't need to come out here for 9 people. When we get a few more people in here, you come and set up the big display. And she still supports us. I love her for that. We're going to go down and see her. But Honda's there. So if you want to check out the Honda Grom guys and take a nice ride with some cool folks, check them out this Saturday and go down and see American Honda, see what's going on down there. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We're going to take a short pause for the cause. Send your questions in. We'll pick one during the break, and then we'll give away a cam from Small Engine Cams. And shout-outs when we get back. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, brought to you by Pioneer CRC, Go Kart USA, GoPowerSports.com, Small Engine Cams. Ed, look around. All right. Thank you, everybody. If I miss you, we'll catch you next time. See you in a bit. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Ed, I don't know, what season 2, I know that. Was it episode 9 or 8? Episode 9. Make a mental note of that, will you? Hey, give a little shout out to Minibike Life. Oh, those are our guys, yeah. We autographed this one. We're going to give this cool little Minibike Life lid to our man, Nick Jensen.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is Souza with the little 2-horse. That was a cool little bike. That was.
Yeah, I think on his hat, you're not supposed to take that sticker
No, you
off.
leave that on.
Yeah, you leave that
It's
on.
cooler.
Is it the
that way.
sticker and they would have the label?
Leave it flat.
Like you would notice
Leave
that
it flat,
when the team knew they were going to win the Super Bowl, they would put the Super Bowl champ hats on, yet they would still have the tag. Ed, you don't mind signing that for Nick either,
Yeah,
do you?
evil Ed.
Hey, everybody, thanks for listening in. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We're at the second half. We're going to kind of make this a little bit of a shorter second half version. Once again, a big shout out to my main man, Myron Bailey. Happy birthday to his moms. I was like saying that, moms. If I ever call my mom moms, she'd probably give me a slap, but I like moms. Hope you're doing well, Miss Bailey. You raised a good kid there. Your grandson's not bad either. That's Big Son.
Big Son, yeah.
That's Myron's big sun. Nothing gets by me, huh? All right, so we had some questions that came in. Ed, one of them was a guy wants to know, like, why Ed likes Bonanzas. And that's not going to be like a winning question, but I guess it's one that most people kind of want to know. What is it about those? I may have even asked you
They're
this.
not flimsy. They were built well. They ride nice.
Yeah.
And that's California bike.
Well, they had so many models
When I was
too,
a
right?
kid,
They
yeah.
had so many. You had such a wide selection. Like I like the CR400 choppers. Got a few of them lurking around here, right? For some reason, I got into those. We got a few of them original bikes around here. The CR500s with the 5-horse, or the.
I just kind of grew up with Bonanzas, and all my friends had them. I had one. Not really any tacos in our clan, but we didn't have any cats either.
No, cats.
Most everyone that I knew had a Bonanza.
Let's just say it. You know, most of the guys I know that are into cats are my black friends. You know, it's like all those dudes are into those bikes, and they joke, say, "Oh, you white guys like tacos." It's like, which is not true either. You know, just one of those things
they
where
had the bigger brake, the 5-inch in the back.
yeah. And now when I see those cats though, jumping around a little bit, they're kind of cool. You know, there's just something about them. It's like, you know, some guys were into Schwinn's, but there's also those Huffies.
Yeah,
You know,
I
at the
had a
time you didn't
Huffy
want
rail.
no, but you didn't want one because
They were
everybody
cool.
wanted the Schwinn. But when you're older and you look back at them, they're all cool. The muscle bikes, the muscle cars. So the Bonanzas, yeah, I could see why you would like them. Plus, they give you the rigid frame, the BC 1000, the 1100, the 1200, the 13, the 14. You can get the ones with the Hadaka 100 motors in there and the full suspension. I should have bought the one that Guardrail Dave sold to Minibike Paul,
That
the
one.
MX.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see why you like them. They're just damn cool, and
They're built well.
yeah.
1-inch frames on most of them.
So I've got
7/8.
the blue one, the BC 12, I think, and I put a kind of a not a new Tecumseh, but you know the vintage 4-horse, and that's a rattle machine. It goes. I've got that chrome stock straight pipe.
Yeah.
I got the chrome clutch cover on it and the chrome kickstand. Well, you assembled most of it, but I mean, riding that bike, it'll shatter your teeth. And the choppers, when I ride those probably put the biggest smiles on my face riding my Bonanza CR 400. You know, we've had a few of them they're fun. Like I rode Frankenstein around the block today. That was fun. But the chopper, you know, just that whole thing. I'm surprised you never got into the choppers. Most of yours are kind of like the
I've ridden them before.
stuff to turn them, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know, you
tough
get big
to
and stuff
turn 'em,
that-
and you're kind of riding on them, and they kind of go like that a little bit.
Especially mine with because the one of them, they're original bikes from the original owners. One of them, the handlebars just bent a little bit to the left, so probably one of the hits he took into the wall when he was like a teenager. Let's give some shout outs if we could.
That was from Kyle Calkins.
Oh, Kyle Calkins. Thanks for that question, Kyle. You didn't win, but thanks for the question. Another one, Ed, is from Josh Vargas. Josh chimes in. He's kind of a local victim. I think he was lurking around Max. He was, there was the table where the little Petro was,
Right.
and then we were all sitting up here, but right across on the street,
Right.
that's where Josh was hanging. I met him, and is it Irving Corona or Corona Irving?
Irving Corona.
All right. So just like I did with,
think.
yeah. So I wonder if it's truly me. Is it Vernell Potter or Potter Vernell?
No, it's Vernell Potter.
All right. So all these years I've gotten both of those names back asswards, but in a good way, because none of them ever say, "Hey Joe, my name's not Corona. My name's like Irving."
Really?
Yeah. So I see my man, and I say Corona. Yeah, Irving. Because it's always. Isn't it always Corona Irving on the Facebook? So it's the other way around. But I saw Josh, and Josh has a question. Josh wants to know what we feel's better, a centrifugal clutch application or a torque converter. And I, as I look back at the GTC torque converters, and as I look at the new one that we're giving away, that doesn't cause me to say this, but the torque converter by far, based on what Dave Miller said. When Dave Miller was here, I could think he's a pretty good gauge. He's built a few things, a few bikes, a few engines. He says it's the single most beneficial thing that you can do is bolt on a torque converter for increased power. It's like that's the one single thing that you can really do. It just changes. So, although the centrifugal clutch, I saw a couple cool comments at Max. Those clutches are by far the ones that we're all familiar with, and you have like 50 of them lurking around. Probably just maybe one or two of us have torque converters lying around. Although there was a good deal for one at Max too.
$50 or something.
Yeah, that ain't bad. Those things are a few $100.
Then you got price wise because torque converters.
$40, $30 at Craigslist.
Well,
a clutch.
A clutch is 20 or 30, $40. Torque converters way more.
Yeah,
So,
so you do what this guy did. You wait for a swap meet or something like Max, or come to Joe's Minibike Reunion and see if you can find a torque converter. But that would be the way to go, I would think. And if anybody has any comments about that, by all means. Ed, are those Bs or we got a little bit of a B problem before?
Well, that is a B.
Yeah, so we'll keep this. The gasket remover works well so if you see anything, go ahead and defend yourselves.
Coffee.
I want to get into a couple of things first, but I want to give some shout outs. I mentioned the upcoming SEMA show. In fact, you'll be there. Did you get your credentials?
Not yet.
Halloween weekend. And then the first Friday of November.
On top of your head.
Oh, is it?
Something.
Oh, it's not a bee though.
There it is.
Yeah, great. we had to shoot a bee out of Ed's beard with brake clean in one of the last podcasts.
I'm trying to catch up, Dad. Looks like you are too.
Well, we got a ways to go.
We'll get there someday.
Yeah. We're talking about Ed's marvelous beard. Well, that's really this. Ed, if these T-shirts go well, we may only have to work 7 hours a day instead of 8. Well, we'll have enough money for an extra hour. I think the decals are going to be. Let's give some decals away. That's what we'll do. You buy the Ed hat or T-shirt and you get a decal, and Ed will autograph the decal.
Oh, yeah.
Sold.
See, that's a good deal. Like you do that, wouldn't you, Greg?
Sold.
All right. So keep an eye out for any bees. Shout out to Peter. And Peter's got the big SEMA show. And within the SEMA show, everybody thinks SEMA is the mecca of hot rods and cool cars, and it is, and cool people, and the chance to really learn how to make money in the industry. But there's a power sports section there. I've talked about this before, and it's in the Upper South Hall. It's right up in the front. And Coleman is going to be there. And, Coleman has received a little notoriety. Our friends from GoPowerSports.com. Special code JMBR, save 10%. They've got a hop-up kit. These fucking bees over here, Ed, I swear. What kind of clone you wearing? Let's see if we can get him out of here.
I ain't hurting no one.
There we go. See, now we'll go.
Watch your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's just the gasket remover.
Now you're irritated.
No, it'd be good. Hold on. All right, now he's gone. Oh,
He's
he
dead.
calling him? All right, great.
You got a match? I got my book.
Hey, that's $5. Use this.
Stand by.
So
Done.
that's his brother. Holy shit, there's a hive up there. Damn. All right, so there's a power sports section in the SEMA show, and Coleman's there. And we know Coleman from, the mini bikes. They're, I don't necessarily have one, but they have drift cycles. They're like $1,200, but they're us. They're the Predators. They're the hopped up carbs pipes. So I want to check those out because I'd like to build one of those drift bikes. Hot Rod did something recently online where they built a drift bike. Those seem like fun. Maybe we'll get 2 of them and we'll race. Oh, that was just the moth. So it's a SEMA show. It's coming up.
Smells good.
It is. Oh, it's knocker loose. A name like that.
Is Ed going to be in the SEMA show?
Well, Ed's still recovering from the SEMA show last year. I mean, come on.
And
I saw him after
I wanted to take him around and do interviews with
No
Ed.
way. It's not going to happen. The podcast was in the South Hall. His hotel room was at the West Gate, which is on the other north end. By the time we were halfway there, right?
My knees were
Yes. Plus, he only had 2 packs of cigarettes. He didn't have enough for the walk and the way back. So we'll let him have the custom cart for the week if he goes. Let him ride around on the scooter. So it's a SEMA show, and SEMA Ignited. The big SEMA Ignited event is the Friday night after party. It's across the street in the Gold Lot, and it's open to the public. You can get some SEMA Ignited discount coupons. just ask about those. We have some that we'll give away, and you can also purchase them online. But SEMA Ignited, that's the place to be. They have the Battle of the Builders competition there. My buddy Mike Robledo will be helping out there. The Battle of the Builders, you may have seen that on Discovery or Velocity. It's great. The talent and the caliber of the builders and the cars that they turn out is amazing. We'll be there. You should be there too. It's SEMA Ignited. While we're there, we'll be dining. My only place, I do 3 things at SEMA, Ed. I stay at that West Gate.
Right.
I walk to the SEMA show and I go to Piero's. That's all I do every day.
Every day.
Every day, every night. So if you want to see me, we'll be dining at Piero's. Hopefully, Tim Sasamian will join me and I can pay for dinner for him for all the great work that he does. All right. See, I told you I'd give you a little plug. All right. So shout out to my main man, Corey. Glad that you're back. Got some happy birthday wishes out to my godson, Ford, Marcus Chu, Big Mike Robledo. Shout out to my man, Richard Anaya, my Grom riding pal. I'll see him and Ray maybe this weekend. Eric Biggs from the Michigan Minibike Facebook page. What's happening, Eric? Steve Woodfork, Dante Villasenor, Donnie Baden. We already mentioned Big Son. My brother-in-law, Marv. Congratulations to him. He got some new car. If you got a new car, you can send me that $50 you owe me, you prick. Steve Rossitano. Hope you're doing well, Steve. Don't forget to send me my red hot dog relish for the Joe's Minibike Reunion. Ed definitely likes red, not green relish. Congrats to Big Bree on her new house. The entire Jensen family. Hopefully, maybe the kids are.
Thank you.
Oh, the kids are probably up. Shit, they're probably rummaging through your sock drawer now, knowing that you're out, Greg. Hopefully, we'll see the entire Jensen clan and family and all his friends. And thanks, Mom, for letting Dad out of the house. He had to come up from Long Beach, Ed, so that's like a half day.
Yes, it is.
For 405 or 110.
And I appreciate you doing that, man. I really do.
I have several different freeways.
Of which you've traveled all of them. Neil, a buddy of yours called me on the Joe's Minibike Reunion hotline. That's 818-275-4060. Phone rang. I picked it up, and it was a guy, Neil. Neil from Canada, eh?
Yeah. That's the guy I was telling you.
Hey, Neil, from Canada? Yeah, how'd you guess, eh? It's like, oh, come on, Neil. Nothing gets by you.
He's the one that gave me that Briggs 3-horse.
How can I help you? He said, hey, I'm coming to your mini bike show from Canada. I'm a friend of Evil Ed's. Like, well, great. I said, thanks. So he was looking to mail his mini bike. So to avoid all the crazy Canadian tariffs and taxes, he's going to drive to Buffalo, New York, across the border. I'm from Utica. What's up, Utica? And he's going to mail the bike here to this garage. Yeah.
Cool.
And then he's going to come in with his family. I told him he could assemble it here or do whatever.
Yeah.
And he's coming out there. So thanks for that. You'll definitely win the long distance award, right? Good chance for that.
Yeah, I'm glad.
He's
He's the one that I was asking about. He was asking about a hotel room closed.
Yes, and I helped him. He was going to stay in Hollywood. It's like, don't stay in Hollywood. They shoot rappers there. Come up here where you just have to deal with like
Burbank
knock and run burglars and and home invaders. It's much safer here, and especially if you have kids. I told him to stay at Burbank. There's some adjacent hotels across from the airport.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, so stay there. Shout out to Richard White, my buddy Tom Hay. Tom Hay, where is Tom Hay? Tom, popular big shot TV guy from Entertainment Tonight. Big fan of Joe's Minibike Reunion. Cameron White, my roadkill buddy. Willie Bush and his wife Harry. Get it? Dwayne Huber, Sam Blackburn.
Get it.
Chad Janrith, Mike DeRozier, Brad Moisey. I think those guys were riding today. Weren't they having a good time? I got to go through these. David Coates, Chad White Knight, Brian Holland, Danis Peruto, my vet. My vet
Hi,
took care of my dog today. Hey, Chad. Justin Wilcox, the Dodados, Joe, Nick, and Jack. The Hoffins, Eric, Justin, and Nick. I don't know. There's too many of you. My man Vinny Cuco down in Florida. Ronnie DeSalvatore, Cousin Eddie, Steve, Scott T, Rodney Harris, Pizza Man. Just having a little fun with you, Pizza Man. You keep eating all that garbage food, and I'll keep sending you pictures of salads. Doug Bokorski, Alana from Roadkill. Look forward to seeing you.
Alana, what's up?
She's on the cover of some magazine now. Some other magazine. It's just, she's great. She's like you.
I can't say anything.
I know
My
it.
husband will get mad.
He don't listen. Don't worry about it. Brad Treat, Carlos Andrade, Jonathan Chavez, my doctor, Dr. Gregory Beeves. Thanks for helping me out, and we'll see you at the Mini Bike Show. I told him I let him in for free. It's free. He'll never know. And all my on-site staff. E will be missing you, but we've got, what's his name?
Andrew.
When did he change his name? Andrew. I got to make a note of that. My buddy AJ, Mikey Robledo, Brian Pake, Team Guzman, Team Kalia. Hi, Gail. How are you, honey? Can't wait to see you. Jerry's probably sleeping. Dave and Nikole, my daughter. We talked about our new judging team, Jose and Maya, Scott Timberlake, Matt Fielding, Richard White, Mr. Black, and in spirit, my brother-in-law, Marv, who can't make it. All right. We're going to have a quick second half, as I said. I probably missed a lot. You know, the spirit of the show tonight, the episode, was just to not totally dominate with the event, but make sure that you knew it's October the 14th. It's free to the public. Bring your dogs. If you have kids that cry, particularly bring them. We'll stick them right next to the dyno. I have a ton of shit to give away, not only for big boys, but for young kids. You know, we always give away like those Toyo balls and paddle boards, and so we got a bunch of stuff for giveaway. We give away that stuff until it's gone. I've got a slew of helmets. We've talked about this before, and it's happening way too much, especially in Detroit as we wind down. All the guys got their bikes taken on Sunday.
Yeah, right.
My buddy Scott Stebbins and Crispy Minis,
I
and
saw that post.
they got them back. But you know, the fact is that they're getting pulled over because anything over, I don't know how they figure it. I think it's anything that's over like the equivalent of a 3.5 horsepower. It's like got to be a moped motorized, and you have to have, you know, lights, and you have to have directionals. Otherwise, they're just going to take your bikes. And they used to even let them roll, but too many guys are just riding around without helmets, blowing through red lights, giving the cops the fingers. And not only are they ruining it for everybody, but they're getting hurt. They're getting hurt and they're getting killed. So, look, you guys got to realize this shit's just about having fun. You know, we want you to go out and build a mini bike. Do like what Greg does. Build mini bikes with your kids so they're not looking at a friggin' cell phone all day. Want to enjoy them, but when they're done, you have to be safe, man. You have to be respectful. You just can't ride them if you're not able to ride them in your street. You know, you've got to find a private area or a safe area. So do that. It's not for riding around Detroit Metro, man. It's like, it's sorry. And if anything happens to you because you're acting the fool, dude, you're screwing it up for everybody, yourself included, and your family, because they got to deal with your broken ass self and the bills and out of work. So you guys got to be smart about that. All right, so we'll get off the safety preaching box, but in light of that, many of you don't have helmets because you can't afford them. Well, I got some. So you come and see me at Joe's Minibike Reunion, and don't show up with some friggin' Rolex watch asking for a free fucking helmet. That ain't gonna work. But you know, if you need one and you're doing good and you just don't have the means, I'm gonna hook you up. Compliments of my friends over at Honda. I've got about a dozen of them, so we'll give some of those away. You're gonna see Greg Jensen here. Greg, what can you tell us about that Taco 22?
Taco 22?
And the Rutman. Can you let a little bit of the cat out of the bag? What we might be able to...
Yeah, the Taco's got a Clinton on it. Kind of went with a little more of a kind of a trail bike theme with it. Kind of trying to modernize the Clinton a little bit with a filter, and it's got a black wrinkle finish on it, powder coat.
Now, that was that black
slick.
Clinton that we saw on...
It was a red Clinton at one time.
But now
it's black.
And you did a glossy black, didn't you?
Glossy black on the tins and wrinkle finish on the block.
It's going to look nice.
Looks pretty slick.
Yep.
Yeah, and then believe it or not, you can guess the color. It's probably going to be purple.
Sure.
Because my daughter wanted it purple.
Well, there you go.
I asked her what color. She said purple. She has no clue what a taco's supposed to be, right? That's better than pink.
Well, that is one of the favorite colors for that.
We'll have the Rutman back over there.
Good.
The 1970 Rutman. With
nice bike.
Tecumseh on it. Yeah, good.
Something,
times.
you know, I tried
Good
to
times.
stage gas tanks up in the front and they never looked right,
Yeah.
but for some reason that works.
That's a Coyote gear. I bought that. And the exhaust pipe, I didn't trust my welding skills to it. I didn't want to booger it up. So
Sure.
I took it to a place called Lakeman Chassis. It's a hot rod shop in Fullerton. Apparently, rumor has it, it's the old Whammo factory.
Ah, the Frisbee guys?
If you've ever been down there, it's beautiful. Beautiful
Yeah.
place. Cool hot rods in there. I walked in one day, asked them to work on a mini bike. And of course, when I said mini bike, it just opens all the doors.
Everybody
for you.
comes out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
It still does it.
Yeah, just like the wheels when I polished them. I looked online. I found a polishing place. I went in there, and it was an aircraft aluminum polishing place. They don't do just polishing stuff.
Sure.
And I said, these are for my mini bike. And the guy said, all right, I'll get them done for you.
I
Did it anyway, yeah.
had to have a couple rear axle bolts shortened, and there's a machine company right up here, Hamilton Machines,
Sure.
a small little shop, and they're hardcore.
Sure.
They don't smile. There's no doorbell. The door says don't come in. Yeah. Would you fix these for? What is it for? Mini bike. Sure. Come back in a while. Come back in 5 minutes. I go there. How much is it? It's free. Give him a decal from Joe's Minibike Reunion. See, and that's it. That's the beauty of all of it. That mini bike.
Yeah.
Mini bike is the common denominator for all of us, and for all of you who took the time to listen tonight. Thank you for that. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Thanks for your time again, Greg Jensen, rolling up from Long Beach with his badass mini bikes, and look forward to seeing you as well as your bikes at the show.
Be there.
Ed, congratulations on. Well, you got to a lot of things this weekend. We had a chance to see our buddy Mack. He works really hard for that Mack Fest. He had a good time. You got the truck. You got the engine. Progress. Maybe you get the engine just set up in the Bonanza so that you can roll it out.
Mount.
You need. Well, so what do we need? This is a big red alert as we finish up the podcast. What do we need for it?
At least a motor mount to bolt it in.
All right, so we need a motor mount for. What year is that Bonanza? Do we know yet?
63.
All right, and the engine.
The motor mount bolts to the AH58.
Okay, so if you know anybody, let us know, and we'll take care of you. Congratulations to Josh Vargas. Josh, your question about the centrifugal clutch versus the torque converter is going to be our winning question tonight. And congratulations as a result on behalf of Small Engine Cams. PM me your mailing address, and as soon as we get the cam, we'll mail it out to you. Or better yet, see us at Joe's Minibike Reunion on October the 14th. And we'll give you your cam, as well as D. Rivas your cam, and Jake Moe your helmet. We're going to have one more podcast. What's the date again for that last podcast, D?
11th.
October the 11th. So much more I could have got into with my man Greg, an old hot rodder. Spent some time with his dad, enjoying cruising around in the hot rods back in the day. Maybe Emmanuel has a chance to flick up that photo. If not, you can look at that on Facebook. We're all hot rodders at heart, right, Ed?
Yep.
That's it.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We'll see you next time.
Joe's Minibike Show.